All right, so the next tract that we're going to look at is the male reproductive tract. So this is kind of a similar diagram to what we saw in the female. This is kind of where we're headed, I guess. Everything kind of starts in the testes, just like in the female, everything kind of starts in the ovaries, and it just kind of goes on from there. So the scrotum is an external sac, and it holds and protects the testicles. So this is where the testicles are housed. And this is why I say that it's easier to castrate males than it is females, purely because the testes are held in the scrotum, which is an external organ on a male, as opposed to ovaries, which are internal organs on a female. So testes or testicles, the two terms are interchangeable. They produce both sperm and male sex hormones, like testosterone. And they're just two kind of oval-shaped, meaty type structures that are inside the scrotum in livestock. They're actually inside the body cavity of poultry. We're going to talk about poultry in the next video, but as far as male poultry goes, testes are actually internal on males. Poultry is weird, we all know this. But the testes in poultry live inside the body cavity on each side of the backbone, whereas in livestock animals, they're external and they're held in the scrotum. So the epididymis, sperm, much like middle school boys, really need time to mature. So the epididymis is this long coiled tube that's connected to each testicle, kind of wraps around each testicle, and it stores the sperm while they mature. So sperm are produced in the testicles, then they move to the epididymis while they grow up a little bit, and then they can be ejaculated. So the vas deferens, this is kind of the equivalent of the oviduct. So the vas deferens serves as a passageway for sperm to travel from the epididymis to the urethra. And it just connects the epididymis to the urethra. It's purely a connection tube, very similar to the oviduct in the female. Seminal vesicles, so these are actually accessory glands that produce a fluid that protects and transports sperm. It's known as seminal fluid. And they're just glands that open up into the urethra, and when it's time for sperm to ejaculate, the seminal vesicles will also produce and send out this seminal fluid. The prostate gland also produces a fluid that is mixed with seminal fluid, and it's just another gland that's near the urethra and the bladder. The Cowper's gland. So the Cowper's gland is also known as the bulbourethral gland, but trust me, it's way easier to just say the Cowper's gland. And this actually produces a fluid that moves down the urethra ahead of the seminal fluid. So it produces a fluid that kind of cleanses the urethra and neutralizes the urethra to protect the sperm prior to ejaculation. And it's just a gland near the urethra. Sperm are really, really sensitive, I guess is the right word. They're very particular. They need a proper pH. They need it to be clean. They need a proper temperature. They're very, very picky. If it's too hot or too cold, they die. If the pH isn't right for them, they die. And they're not able to fertilize an egg. So the Cowper's gland really is very important to make sure that urethra is neutralized pH-wise and cleansed prior to sperm traveling down it. Otherwise, your sperm will all die and you won't end up with a fertile egg. So the penis. The main function of the penis is to deposit semen in female animals. Now in the male poultry, they have a different organ. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. They have a different organ called the papilla, and that's what actually serves this function in poultry. It is covered by the sheath, which is purely just some skin to help protect the penis. Speaking of, there we go. So the sheath protects the penis. It's just skin that covers it, but that is how you can tell a male animal from a female animal. You can look at the external genitalia. If there's a sheath present, it's a male. If there's not, it's a female. So this is actually a bovine male reproductive tract. And you can see the seminal vesicles and the prostate. They also have what's called this retractor penis muscle. So when an animal is breeding a female, that penis will actually exit the sheath and then will be pulled back into the sheath once breeding is over. And that is all controlled by this retractor penis muscle. All right, we'll talk about the poultry reproductive tract on the next video.